Today we're going to be working on Lesson 34, which is found on page 178 of your text. In this lesson, we're going to be talking about decimal place values. Now, we've already learned our whole number place values up through the trillions. Now what we're going to be doing is talking about decimal place values. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Now, remember that we've already learned our place values through the trillions for whole numbers. So now what we're going to do is we're going to learn about decimal place values. And a helpful way to start to think about this is to consider what we have when we have money. Here I have some examples of some money. We have $100, $10, and then $1. Now these are illustrating place values. We have the ones place, the tens place, and we have the hundreds place. And these are whole dollar amounts, or these are whole number place values. So this is ones. This is tens. Those are our first three place values that we've learned. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add to that some decimal place values. So let's move these over. And remember that in order to have a dollar, we have to have 10 dimes. So we say that a dime is 1/10 of a dollar, and we call this the 1/10 place. And then we say that in order to have 10 dime, or in order to have a dime, I must have 10 pennies. And so a penny is 1/10 of a dime, but it's 1/100th of a dollar. So then our next place value is the 1/100th place. Now notice how these place values, what's happening with each place value. As I go to 1 to 10, I'm multiplying by 10. As I go to 10 to 100, I'm multiplying again by 10. Remember, the next place value here would be the thousands place, which would be 100 times 10. This is why we say that we have a base 10 system. We have 10 digits in our system, and our place values are based upon a multiplication by 10. Well, remember that multiplication and division are what we call inverse operations. One undoes the other. So as we're going this way, we're dividing by 10. And as we're going this way, we're dividing by 10. So to get this next place value here, what would I do? But I would take 1 and divide it by 10. And 1 divided by 10 is 1/10. And then here I would do the same thing. I would divide by 10. And 1/10 divided by 10 is 1/100th. So there is a method to naming our place values, and there is a reason why this is the tenths place and this is the hundredths place. Well, now let's consider the next place value past the hundredths place. If we have a dollar, we have a whole number amount, so this is our ones place. Our next place value we said was what we call the dime place value. It's the tenths place because there's 10 dimes in a dollar. Our next place value we said was what the pennies would be, and that's because it takes 100 pennies to make a dollar. So therefore this is the 100th place. Well, the next place value is the thousandths place. And in order to have, or the place value right here, we call this the mill place value. It takes 1,000 mills to make a dollar. It takes 10 mills to make a penny. It takes 100 mills to make a dime. It takes 1,000 mills to make a dollar. So this is our thousandths place. And you'll hear the word mill a lot of times for property taxes will be termed so many mills. And that's what that word means. The word mill literally means 1/1000th of a dollar. Another place that you see mills is when you're purchasing gasoline prices. A lot of times you'll see gasoline listed as $1.49 and then 9/10, like so. Well, this right here is how many mills. It's 9 mills, 4 dimes, 9 pennies, and 9 mills. So then let's make a chart of place values that you need to know. Look at the chart at the bottom of page 179. If this is the decimal place here, then this is the ones place. This is the tens place. This is the hundreds place. This is the thousands place, and so forth. And we've already learned these, so this is the 10,000ths place. Well, going in this direction, this is going to be the 1/10th place. 1/100, 1 over 1,000, 1 over 10,000. Notice how we're just adding a zero every place value. So this is 100,000. The fifth place value has 5 zeros. And that's a good way to remember it. Notice here that in the first place past the decimal point to the right of the decimal point, we have 1 zero. We have 2 zeros for the second place, 3 zeros for the third place, 4 zeros for the fourth place, 5 zeros for the fifth place. So here, this next place value would be 1 millionths, and there's 6 zeros in million. So look at example 1 on page 179. It says, which digit in 123 and 45 hundredths is in the hundredths place? Well, the hundredths place is 1 over 100, which has 2 zeros. So it's the second place to the right of the decimal point, so it's this 5. So the 5 is in the hundredths place. Look at example 2 at the top of page 180. What is the place value of the 8 in 67 and 89 hundredths? Well, the 8 is the first digit to the right of the decimal point. And since there's only 1 zero in 10, that's in the tenths place. So the 8 then is in the tenths place. Okay, so we've learned a little bit about place value, and we're specifically learning about decimal place values. And remember that decimal place values are always something like 1/10, 100th, 1,000th. We're adding zeros into that denominator with every successive place value. So if you have 1 zero in the denominator, that's the tenths place. The second place to the right of the decimal point has 2 zeros in the denominator. That's the hundredths place. And that's an easy way to remember these place values. Well, why don't you try your practice problems and then come back and we're going to work on those together. Okay, so how are you doing with decimal place values? Well, let's go ahead and try your practice problems and see how you did. Okay, practice problem A. Whereas, what is the place value of the 5 in 12 and 345 thousandths? Now, I'm going to be teaching you later on how to read these numbers, but I'm reading them for you now to give you an idea about how they're read. Now, the place value of the 5 is in the third decimal place. So that would mean that in the denominator, we would have a 1 followed by 3 zeros. That's 1,000. So this is the thousandths place. Now notice how I'm writing the word thousandths. It has a THS on the end of it. So this is telling you that thousandths then, this is telling you that THS is telling you that you have a decimal place value. THS will occur on the end of all decimal place values. Okay. Problem B. It says which digit in 5 and 4,321 ten-thousandths is in the tenths place? Well, the tenths fraction is 1 over 10. So that's 1 zero, so that's the first decimal place. So the 4 is in the tenths place. Problem C. It says in 0 and 123 ten-thousandths, what is the digit in the thousandths place? Well, again, the thousandths place has got 3 zeros in the denominator, so that's the third place value here. And so the 2 then is in the thousandths place. Problem D, what is the value of the place held by 0 in 50 and 375 thousandths? Well, the 0 is occupying the 1 space because it's the first space to the left of the decimal point. Problem E, what is the name for 1/100th of a dollar? Well, 1/100th of a dollar is a cent or a penny. Okay. And problem F, what is the name for 1,000ths of a dollar? Well, we call that a mill. that's it. Well, have a wonderful day. Enjoy your math, and I'll see you tomorrow.